So good evening, one and all. My name is Anurag Gadgar. I am a BAJA alumni member, and today we have joined here for the eBAJA panel discussion. Along with me, my co-host are Mr. Hariharan, BAJA alumni member. So let's begin by introducing. So I'll start with Nilesh.
So hello everyone, I am Nilesh and I was the captain of Team Predators Racing for the 2023 seasons. So I have worked in steering, suspension and vehicle dynamics department in the team. So that's it.
Yeah, good evening. I am Digvijay. I was captain and role cage head for 2023 season.
Hello everyone, I'm Sudeep Chavan, the team manager from Team Predators Racing for the season 2023. I worked as a suspension and steering member and as a financial lead for my team.
Good evening, everyone. I am Aniket Kasre, vice captain and driver for Team Nemesis Racing in 2023 season, and also led the transmission system, finance, and primary welder for team.
Hello everyone, I am Aditya Dafar. I was the captain of Team Gear Falcons for my domain was electric powertrain.
Hello everyone, my name is Ritesh and I was a team manager and Rotations head in Team Get.
So that's great. That's great to meet you all. So in this panel discussion, we'll be discussing about the technical issues faced by the various teams, financial issues, management issues, how can teams go about their presentation in the phase one, and many more. So stay tuned. We are going to be having lots and lots of discussion with you guys. Thank you.
Good evening, guys. Welcome to the eBAJA panel discussion. Here we'll be discussing about how you guys reach the top step of the podium, and this will be a journey. This will help the other teams to learn from your journey, and they'll take inspiration. They'll work accordingly, and they'll achieve a lot in their journey as well. So let's begin. My first question to all of you would be: how do you start from scratch, from building the team and then registering for the event and then taking it forward towards the preliminary round? What are the factors do you consider while recruiting the students, and what kind of responsibilities do you initially assign them?
So when we are considering the recruitment process, first we need to analyze the people who are already continuing with the team. What is the strength of the team right now? Which department has how many people? After we have a basic plan of how many people we need, in which domain we need, we can start looking for students. And it is very important that these students are not focused from one single year. So it shouldn't be that the new recruits all are from first year or second year or third year. There should be a balance between these people, because if one of the year has some exams or something, then the process shouldn't be completely paralyzed. So after that, we need to have a proper recruitment and screening process in which we can understand what a person's likes and dislikes are, where he'll fit in properly, and all of that. So yeah, these are some considerations. Obviously, if we have the rule, according to the rule book, if we have 5 girls, we can have 25 plus 5 members, which is a clear advantage. So if that can be achieved, it will be a good thing for each and every team. So yeah.
So after recruiting, initially we assign them the task of reading and understanding the rule book because it is the key concept for them to analyze the event whole year. So after that, we segregate them to the departments according to the department needs and start their learning phase. And once the manufacturing phase comes, then we allocate them the secondary department of manufacturing. So likewise, the first year of the newly recruited members goes in the learning itself.
Okay. So once the recruitment process is done, how do you ensure that these new recruits are up to the level of the team, and how do you try to upskill them if, for example, they are not in such a skill level which you expect them to do?
you means we don't expect that the first year students to be directly getting into the manufacturing and design. So first, gradually we make them habitual of how the designs are made, what are the calculations, and what are the engineering behind all the entire vehicle. And then after 1 or 2 years, then the baton will be passed on to them, that they will be leading the designs and all that. So and also during the entire journey, so giving them small tasks and leadership opportunities, so that they could develop themselves too, and also some opportunities in the presentations as well, so as they could get the entire experience of how the event is going, and to have a conversation between the industry experts.
Yeah, adding to his point, like to ensure that they will be ready for the next event. So we can take a regularly update on their task, whether they are performing well and solving their doubts. So that will also encourage them to read the technicalities and know more about the vehicles.
Yeah, as Nilesh correctly said, it is very important to have proper mentorship in the team. So let's subsystem like steering. The people who have been working in the department for 1 or 2 years, they are the people who guide the new students that come in. So assigning mentors in the team that can help every student and that can cater to the doubts of these people is very important, because at the every small doubt that a new student has, he asks his department lead or domain lead. It doesn't always have to be fourth year or third year student. This can also be done with people who have done worked with the team for 1 year or 2 years, and then they also have a good opportunity to pass on their knowledge and upskill their leadership and management skills as well. So mentorship is also very important when it comes to training the new students that come into the team.
So do you refer to other resources other than whatever? There are a list of books which are mentioned in the BAJA SAEINDIA rule book, right? So do you refer to those resources itself, or there are other resources which you have to train them or to take a lot of knowledge out of them?
Yeah, so there are, for studying each subsystem, there are many books. So just rule book is just to make the vehicle within certain set of rules and regulations that are set by the BA. But to make a subsystem or to design a subsystem from scratch, so we need to study a lot of other books. So and again for the calculations as well. So there are a lot of books involved in it.
Apart from the books, I think we should also let them explore the technical knowledge on the net itself, because there are some technical websites and blogs from where you can get the valuable content regarding the technicalities. So in their learning phase, the junior should be let them explore to the new what we can say new knowledge on the websites. So that will definitely add something new to your team every year.
Okay. And other than
also there are a lot of DIY on YouTube, the DIY channels on YouTube. Those are also great opportunities for learning.
Could you name a few? Sorry to cut you. Could you name a few?
So the Hacksmith is one of, then Colin Furze is there, and again a lot of, even if you search making a BAJA TV on YouTube, you get many videos on that itself. On each subsystems there are multiple playlists how to design and what are the calculations behind that. So those help a lot.
For CA Illusion by Apurva Bapat. You also helpful for CA analysis.
So like Nilesh spoke about browsing the net, a lot of technical papers and publications are available that are also focused on BAJA and FSA that are FSA projects done by students. So a lot of on-ground development, practical approach, which is entirely focused on BAJA, is available on the net. So we can use these technical papers to start understand design process and the outlook of design from every other team's perspective. So every team has a different approach at a certain subsystem. So if we get these papers, we can understand how people are approaching a certain problem or catering to whatever issues they have faced. And if maybe any team has faced the same issues, they can find a different solution, a new solution to that problem. So technical papers and publications are very good source of knowledge for students.
Okay, so technical papers, then books, then a lot of other YouTube channels, and then obviously previous experience of the team. If it's an OV team, will definitely help them to take their design culture forward and build a better vehicle. So apart from the technical aspect, how do you ensure the team is really united and everybody works as a unit together and towards a common goal? Is there something you guys do, like a team offsite, or do you have fun together or something?
Yeah, so we arrange travel experiences or anything. So constantly we are traveling with the juniors and having some trips planned and meetings held regularly so as to boost the morals of the students. So because all the members are under a lot of stress and they are working hard and missing their college days and seeing others enjoy, so we have to keep the moral up for the team. And yeah, that's
Yeah,
Oh.
and adding to Digvijay's point, as we know, it is the stressful work working in the Baha team. There is need of the joy and also the motivation. Point to point, we need motivation for the team. So for that motivation, we need some another extra activities like playing outdoor games with the team. So that is a necessary part of it, like keeping the team moral. And in the working hours we will work, but apart from that, it is like the what we can say, the brotherhood bond, which will ensure the working of the team, and it will have the effect in the what we can say, the smooth transition of the team also from one team to the another previous to the juniors, like from the seniors to the juniors. So that is necessary to keep that bond alive, the brotherhood should be there.
Along with all of these things, there are a lot of small things that the management can do. Like every day, people can everyone as a group can go out and have tea, or go out for snacks when there's the break during the day. One time that everyone can go and just eat and drink tea together. So that it brings everyone on a common ground. Along with that, celebrating birthdays or something like that. This is this is a good practice that brings everyone together, everyone at the same level, and the bond that is necessary for knowledge transfer can also be built through this. So small things that can be done by the management or the seniors are very important.
Yeah, the best time for united and having a fun is like when you have achieved something milestone, like if you have completed your phase one, or if you have built your rolling chassis, or you have completed your vehicle manufacturing. So that will be the best time for the team to celebrate, and the members will also enjoy the lot during that time.
Okay, so these are really good points for new teams as well as old teams. So just to summarize what you have said, so first thing was taking out team excursions, having those tea time or chai time, then having those, having that brotherhood, brotherhood feeling among the team members is really important. So that can definitely be followed by new teams and old teams together. So coming to one of the most important technical questions. How do you select a motor? So BAJA has set certain certain limits, like the values. So which kind of motor, or how to select that motor? So you have a number of motors in market. You have a PSM motor, you have a VLDC motor. So how do teams go about it, and what should new teams keep there in mind for selecting a particular kind of a motor?
Yeah, so first of all, study the characteristics of the motors available. So different types of motors have different characteristics, like induction motors, BLDC, PMSM, and others. So study your requirements, study the motor characteristics, build a chart where you can write the advantages and disadvantages of each of the motor types, and then you can have a discussion on that, and then go on selecting one from those options. Also first of all, the transmission calculations must be done. So without that, you cannot means figure out how much power you are going to require, because just if the 9 kilowatt restrictions have been put by the BAJA, so directly going for a 9 kilowatt motor, so will just increase your consumption from the battery, and you won't be getting any good range from the battery. So yeah, so that should be the perspective for that.
Adding to Digvijay's point, the first and the most important is the hand calculations that we do at the beginning of the year. We set some goals, performance parameters, and according to that, we get a required power, required torque, required RPM from the motor, the output from the motor. Once we have the basic values that we need from our motor, we can start with the research that for the motors that fall in the rules that have been set by BAJA. So the 9 kilowatt rule and below 60 volt. So once we can get a list of all the motors that are available, then we can try different combinations of transmissions and gear ratios that fit into our requirements, and that can help us in achieving the performance that we want. In this, various simulations can be run. But the first step always starts with hand calculations, and moving forward, when we have multiple options to try out, we can use the simulation approach.
So a follow-up question on what you guys said. So the chart thing, or the value determination thing is definitely possible for old teams, but when it comes to new teams, when they approach vendors, so one vendor is going to say you go for PSM, another one is going to say BLDC. So what is that differentiating point between those two kind of motors or other motors that a team can go for?
In this case, the research that the team does is more important and crucial. Along with that, if the team can do proper testing on dynamometers and get the data validated that they are getting from the manufacturer, that is a very good thing. Because unless and until we get validation for the sheets that are provided by manufacturers, we can't really blindly go ahead with the design. So having proper testing data is very important in choosing the motor. So yeah.
There is one more point that the new teams take into the consideration, that the output torque the motor will deliver over the certain range of the RPM. Because if you select the motor with the higher output torque, so it will definitely decrease your further reduction, and it will result in significant material saving also, and the cost saving also, and weight. It will result in the less weight of your further transmission components.
Since we are talking about new teams, I would also ask a question on how do eBAJA teams transition to eBAJA teams? What is the background work which they have to do in order to come right at the eBAJA, like begin the year as an eBAJA team and finish their year on a high?
First is to, I guess, study the rule book, because the rules means many teams are majorly stuck on the rules of the which are given by the BAJA. So study the rules, that what actually we have, what set of rules have been laid out by the BAJA. And again, if they are participating in eBAJA, so most of them, means around 70 to 80% work already they know how to build a vehicle and everything. So the most of the part will be on the battery, motor, and the powertrain sides that they will be doing. So laying an means an circuit so on the vehicle to build an electrical circuit that will last for the endurance and that is reliable will be the most important part. And again, other calculations and other rules that should be followed.
Yes, I think the teams that wanted to shift from eBAJA to eBAJA. So I think in the first year, they should more focus on the electrical circuits and the startup sequence that is known as RTDS. Because many we have seen in the previous year that many years didn't even clear their TI due to that electrical circuit connections and the startup sequence. So I think the new team should totally focus on the electrical architecture in the first year rather than going with the self-design components.
If the old eBAJA teams can try to implement during the starting phase of the event, if they can try to implement the electrical powertrain in their older vehicles, then they can have a lot of testing done before the statics or before even the virtuals, if that is possible. So if eBAJA teams are in the position to do that, that can be a very good foundation for the team, as they will identify a lot of problems that they will be facing in the main event, the testing that they will do in the new vehicle. So a lot of problems will be already sorted, or a lot of problems will be already identified and can be considered during the design process. So that is one of the approach. But again, there's a lot of work that has to be done on it. So the practicality is up to the team if that it is possible for them, but it is a very reliable thing to do if possible.
Okay, so coming to the next question. So when it comes to electric motors or any kind of electric components, there's always programming that has to be done into it. And one of the most important rule of BAJA is that your vehicles should start by pressing the brake first and then using the ignition and whatever we have on the eBAJA vehicle. So what kind of programming do teams should use, like which kind of programming language, and what are the components that you suggest to use in order to initiate that sequence? So we have Arduino, we have Raspberry Pi. So what kind of components do you suggest for new teams to use that or follow that limitation?
So basically, to start, it can be teams can first start with the basic Arduino and small relays, 12 volt, 9 volt relays. So why that? Because they are much more easy to implement in the first trial, and they are also relatively cheaper. So in case there's a problem or some issue, they are easily replaceable, and you can find them anywhere easily. So if the teams can implement using the simpler electronic components, then they can think of upgrading to the more complicated ones. But I feel like for new teams, Arduino and relays are more better option.
Again, also make sure that you always rely on hardware. So hardware reliability is much more better than software reliability. So when you design the LV circuits for the startup sequence, so try to simpler switches between the accelerator and brake pedals so as to get a signal from those. And also while designing the PCB and while mounting it on the vehicle, also make sure that you have a proper rigid mounting points, and also no vibrations are getting to that, because PCBs are delicate components and it may get damaged during competition sites.
Okay, so yes, the hardware reliability is the key aspect here. The team can use the Arduino, but it is not much automotive standard, and it is not more reliable. But if the team if the team want to go to the simpler way, then the team had to ensure that what your the installation of your hardware component like Arduino that will be free from any vibrations and the shocks to make it more reliable.
Okay, so we have pretty much concrete answers on how new teams as well as old teams can go ahead for initiating that startup sequence perfectly. So coming to now the phase one aspect of the entire event, that is the preliminary round of BAJA SAEINDIA 2024. So what are the key takeaways that you would like to suggest to teams to ensure that their presentations are the best ones? Because we have a number of teams which are going to be participating in new formats. So what are your suggestions to them? What kind of data should they display on their PPTs?
Yeah, so I would suggest that BAJA gives you a document for before presentations and all are, and they cover up the points that must be included. So apart from that, you can also include what are the things going on in industry. So because the experts, the judges are the experts coming from the automobile industries, and so their perspective will be a little bit different than yours, because because we are only producing a one vehicle per year, so majorly all the teams focus on performance rather than cost and etc. So how do you put your point before them, that why you chose this component, or why did you made your design complex, and why the machining is increased? So have your answers means prepared, that how you're going to justify your designs. Then again, if you are showing some simulations or anything else, so each and every background must be covered on that. Yeah.
Apart from the presentation, did you guys ensure that you have data in backup just in case the panel requires it, or you already have the data in presentation?
Yeah. So you can keep the CAD model open in the software, and again you can have simulation or something, photos, etc. Open for sake. So a lot of times they will request for those things. So yeah, it's a good thing to keep it with yourself.
Yeah, the team can also keep the documentation of each department. So in cases when the judges ask for the calculation, so then the team can present to them.
So do you think is there specific in the whole presentation, which is of say 10-12 slides, do you think you need to focus on certain specific areas, or it should be the entire presentation where as a whole?
The entire presentation must be good, because every subsystem will contribute something to your vehicle, and as well as to your points which you will be getting in the presentations. So we are fighting for the points, so cover all the points, and each slide must be proper and must be covered. Means,
So while present, and since you also have a quiz round apart from the presentation round, is there a different strategy you opt for while preparing, or is it like when you prepare for phase one, the same material serves you as a baseline for the quiz as well?
so quiz is based on the rule book itself. So if you read the rule book 100 times, then you will ace in the quiz itself.
Agreed.
Just for the recommendation, like every team can like give mock quizzes, like their juniors can design mock quiz for them, They can practice like 50 to 60 quiz before the final quiz, so that they'll be well prepared for the quiz also.
So moving from phase one, how do you take your team from phase one, which is probably where you brainstorm and start designing your vehicle, to taking the virtual route, designing your vehicle on IPG car maker, running those virtual simulations, and parallelly beginning the fabrication of a vehicle? How do you transition your team from this phase to the next?
Like after phase one, every team must focus on their finalization part of the design. They should focus on the design for ready to the manufacture. They should have consulted the manufacturing vendors or the industry experts for the proper ready to manufacturing design. And after the completion of complete design, they can also start practicing on the IPG car maker simulations. They can tune their vehicle there. They can develop their models also, and should have like started the procurement of materials also. So that after preliminary, if the every team goes through this space, now they will they can manufacture their vehicle before phase two, which is the best case for the every team.
And when you say you start freezing your components, so what is the ideal timeline after phase one? You should start finalizing everything, freezing your components, and probably start contacting your vendors or vendors or people for procuring.
No, I'll suggest that do it before the preliminary round. So you have your designs finalized way before, means finalized in your team itself way before the preliminary round. Preliminary round is just that you could take a feedback from the judges and the BAJA committee respectively. So that must be the point of preliminary rounds for the teams. So then just after preliminary round, after getting feedbacks, you can have the changes done which are suggested, and you could be manufacturing the vehicle in no time.
Yeah, exactly. But before starting the manufacturing phase, it is really important to check all the interferences between the assemblies in the full wheel travel, so that in future, if you manufacture your component, and if you face any interferences between the system, then you need to rework a lot to fabricate fabricate again that the systems to recover those problems. So that's the main point the team should consider before starting the manufacturing phase.
Okay. And since we're talking about manufacturing and purchasing components, how does a team manage their finances? How do you get the money from? Where do you get the money from? And if in case you need to look out for sponsorships, how do you approach industries or people or businesses to put in money for your team? And once you have the money in, how do you manage them? How do you prioritize on what should I buy this year? What should I buy, say, postpone it to the next year, since I can reuse this component one more year, compromising on the performance?
Yeah, managing finances is a very key role in manufacturing and participating in the event. Like starting for the finance, now we should have started way before the phase two or manufacturing. We should have planned before the just after when we started working for the event, before way before the preliminary round. We should have the clear idea about how many money we can arrange for this year, and how much we can invest into our manufacturing, how much we can invest into our validations, and how much we will need for the final event. So accordingly, we can calculate the total expenses we required, and accordingly, we can set a goal for sponsorship for the current season. And we should have already planned for the money, some money to give to the next team, so they can also like survive for the further competitions.
Yeah,
And
adding.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and answering to your question, like how to approach the organizations for sponsorship. So yeah, there are many ways. The first one is to just have a formal chat on the LinkedIn with the industry professionals for your need, and especially look for those people who were associated with these BAJA super activities in their past, because they are the one who understand what we do and are more likely to help us. Also, you can connect with industry through your college training and placement officer. So that will probably increase your chances of getting the sponsorship.
Yeah, just
Like
creating
teams,
a create a proper distribution of funds within the subsystems, that where you have to spend money and what are the necessary things that you are going to do this year, etc. And also, if the matters are worse, then again you can go and ask for money yourself in the MIDC or any industrial area like that.
and like every like the person managing the finances now should have the clear idea about the importance of the particular process or the particular part for the finance perspective. So they should have clear idea that this much of amount of we will be needing for the final event. We should have this much amount of for the backup. So like we are experiencing like many teams like experiences very or failures in the event side, so they need to have backup plans as on the finance as well, so that they can sustain in the event also.
So, and one more aspect in the financial thing, we have already seen that a lot of teams from the same city or the same state, they tend to, club their expenses together in terms of logistics and all. So, and that is because they have a very well camaraderie between them, and they have a good relationship in between both the teams as well as the colleges. So if say a new team is here now in your city, how would you and how does that new team navigate around and build such relationships so that probably you can share logistic expenses? Probably you guys can help them out, the new teams with the vendors, and how those new teams can ask out for help if they want.
Yeah, so the new teams can approach the old teams in their in their state or in their locality, and and those could guide them and tell them that how the logistics are approached and if the sharing is open with them or not.
Mhm. So moving ahead, there's just the last couple of questions. Uh, the most important part of the whole journey is obviously once you finish your manufacturing, it's the testing. So number one would be, what is the ideal amount of time you want to dedicate to the testing of the vehicle? And number two would be, what kinds of different tests a team must do in order to ensure the reliability of each component. And once they have proven the reliability, they might also want to check how the component performs under extreme circumstances. How do you navigate about the testing?
So like we consider a testing period of 1 month to 1.5 months, depending on the timeline. But a lot of times we have to keep a buffer period in this. While we are approaching the testing phase at a week before, we need to make a proper testing plan of how many number of tests we want to perform for how many days, or how many kilometers a certain test has to be performed. And according to the event format, we can do the different events. We can train our drivers for each and every event. And if we have a proper plan ready before that we go into testing, there's less wastage of time. Because it happens a lot of times that if the testing is not properly planned, we are just doing the testing without proper results. So what results do we result oriented testing is very important. What result do we want from testing and from a particular test? So if that is devised properly before we go into the testing, I don't think teams would have any issues during the period. And as I spoke about the buffer, any failures that we might have, we need to consider a buffer period in the testing plan as well.
Yeah, like adding to Aditya's point, we like every team should have quality testing over quantity testing. Like they should have focus for the like number of maneuverability attempts. They can design their own maneuverability tracks on the grounds, and they should have practiced for at least 20 to 30 tracks, different tracks in the forward manner, in the reverse manner. And as well as they should have one mock endurance race for the 4 hours. So driver will known to the fatigue required to that. And the team can also practice driver communication during the endurance race. And team can have 1 or 2 attempts of suspension and traction, but they can choose how like difficult track they can make. But every testing should have some value after the completion of testing. Every testing should have been documented, should have been discussed with the driver, and should also have been monitored for the fatigue life of the vehicle.
Yeah, adding to the fatigue life, so don't overtest your vehicle too much, and because once the components are in the fatigue period around that, so you will be regretting that in the competition, because those will fail in the endurance race itself. And also have a proper, means 1 or 2 very hard endurance races which are hard on the vehicle and the driver, so as to develop his physical and mental preparations also.
Yeah,
And
and apart from this, one of the major output of the testing is the driver confidence. So yeah, to make your driver more confident, so you can use your previous year vehicle, and on that vehicle you can give them the rough terrains and hard terrains that will boost up his confidence.
Yeah, just one point I have that every team should ensure that the vehicle that testing should have the like final all components on that, so that all components can be tested and validated for the any type of failure. And if we change the settings, or if we change the vehicle performance every time for the testing, the driver will lose confidence or will not get any that hands on the steering wheel as better confidence. So the same vehicle should have be the tested for the driver also. So that's the thing.
Uh, Adding to Sudeep's point, when we are looking at eBAJA, implementing the whole LV as well as HV circuit during the testing and testing the whole vehicle is very important, because the problems that we might face during the endurance, we have no idea sort of where which system might have what problem. LV, there can be some problems with the LV, and that can also lead to the completely vehicle stoppage. So testing the whole vehicle as a unit is very important. And not just the dynamic or physical testing or like SNTs, rough terrain testing, but also the electronic testing and the endurance of that.
So to sum up, we have a number of points discussed and everything. So do you have any general tips and tricks that you would like to give to the teams? Like how do you pass on the knowledge to the juniors, or how do you approach your faculty for support or something like that? Just some general stuff.
Like working in a team, that basic tip is that if you are like leading the team, or if you are having the lead for the team, you should have this with your college faculties, or and also with the your competitors, also your neighboring colleges which are participating in the same event, or the other teams which are participating in the different events, and also with your training and placement cells, so that they can help with your with the sponsorship also. So maintaining all these kinds of relationships is a very key concept. So every team can assign some members for the some kinds of relationships to them. So like some members will be in contact with their alumni, so that they can help in the technical and non-technical matters or the financial matters. Some members can be in the contact with the college and the training and placements of their college for the any managerial or finance related matters, or any permission approval related tasks. And some members can be in contact with the other team members, like other teams, so that they can approach them whenever any like any failure occur or any help they need for the any task. So managing these public relations will help a lot during whole year.
So the best way I'll suggest that those who will be the second or third year students, so take them into decision making practices or little bit the decisions that are while you are performing any important calculations or designs. So take them besides you and teach them that how this is done, what should be the perspective while designing something, or what should be the perspective while uh, uh, designing the annual plan of your team, and how the morals are to be kept, what are the problems that they might face, or what were the problems previous teams faced, and then what are the learnings that you get from that. And yes.
Building a bridge between the juniors and the alumni of the team that have passed on and their valuable experience that can be useful for the newly joined recruits is very important. So when the recruitment process is done, having sessions with the alumni can help throughout the year, because that can be either for queries related to different fields that they might be experts. So having that bridge between the alumni is very important when it comes to the training of the students as well.
Okay, for the data transfer point, so the team should maintain the backup of entire data throughout the seasons, and that the team need to be handed over to the next team. So that will help them a lot.
Also, the subsystem heads can maintain a diary of their own, that how they designed their own subsystem and how that was integrated in the vehicle. So again, reading those points could also be helpful for the juniors.
Great. So great tips for the juniors and as well as the teams.
Now that we have talked about the, the data transfer, I'll just like to ask one final question about we conduct our statics in the virtual round of BAJA, which is in the second phase, and a lot of the top teams, they are selected to the finals of these static events, say the cost, sales, CA, etc. Number one would be, my first question is, how do you make sure you are in the finals of these static events? How do you do your preparations? How do you have data and presentations in such a way that you almost make sure every time that you are there in the final round? I mean, how do you ensure the quality there?
Yeah, so basically the point is that are most of the judges are from the industry. So what we prefer is that the engineered vehicle which we have designed is that the engineered, like the engineered values are in the vehicle, and the whatever the questions they ask, is there any answers to them as of the according to the industrial guidelines, the norms, the design procedures which are used in the industry, are the students or the participants are aware of that, uh, and they have implemented in in their vehicle also, how they have performed the analysis, like the simulations or simulations of vehicle, and is that simulations are matching with the actual and overall vehicle durability. So that analysis, that CAE also. So according to that, they score the points, and the industry persons, they definitely look for the that technicalities into the vehicle, whether it is engineered and it follows the industrial norms, it is designed according, or there are some as it is durable, it is designed for the performance, but is it safe, or it is the ergonomically designed. So that point should be there.
Again, try to make your presentation more attractive, by having a proper color scheme. Then again, the how the photos and images are being displayed, then what are the contents, tabular formats, etc. So that would to create a good impression and good interest on for the judge to for the evaluation.
Also, the adding to his point, like basic thing that team should have ensured during making of their PPTs or posters, like the data given by the BAHA, like BAHA or the in the guidelines itself, like we have included the suspension, steering, brakes, system integrations, the following points, DFMEA validations, all the points are given in the guidelines itself. That all the points should have covered in the PPT in a comprised manner, so that the judge will get to know that you have done everything. You have gone through the analysis, you have gone through the R&D, you have validated the part, and on the basis of that, you are explaining to the judges. So making data according to the guidelines and making PPTs according to that will eventually scores more.
Teams should have people responsible for independent events. So the team can be split into subgroups where certain single group works on cost events, one group works on suspension, the sales, and one works on IPG. So as all of these things come together, a lot of time management is also important. So responsibilities are, if they are split amongst everyone, and there is one person responsible for each and every event, then we can keep track of all of this and have a balanced performance in every event. Because as Sudeep said, that the guidelines are already provided. So if we make a proper balanced presentation by considering all the points in the presentation, then it gives a good edge above for each and every team. Because a lot of times it happens that 1 or 2 points are left out, and then those points are not scored. So having each and every point in the presentation is very important.
Yeah, as there are generally the 4 static events, and each static events, if you look, requires the different skill set. So as a managerial point of view, you should familiar with the type of person, what kind of person is your team member, and according you must familiar with his or her skill set, and in what in what static event he or she can do the better. So according to that, you must allocate the work to the specific person. Like this specific person will work for the cost, this specific person will work for the sales, and this specific persons will work for the CAE. So distributing the responsibility to the specific persons will really helpful for you to get really helpful for you to come up with a great output.
Okay, perfect. So, just to conclude the entire panel discussion, we have discussed a number of points, right from the technical issues faced, the startup sequence, the financial issues faced, how to go about the preliminary presentation, the important general tips and tricks, and how to do a knowledge transfer to your juniors. So to conclude, as a host of this panel, as one of the hosts of the panel, I am truly inspired by the points and the remarkable insights that you all have given. I would definitely say I'm confident that this panel discussion will definitely serve as a beacon to all the teams to show about the continuous collaboration, fostering new friendships, and propelling all the teams towards the success in the upcoming BAJA SAEINDIA 2024 competition. So I would like to thank all of you for joining the session, for answering all the queries which were asked by the teams in the AMA session that was conducted on Instagram. I would also like to thank Mr. Hariharan sir for conducting this panel discussion successfully. Thank you.